So over here, I might have been a little overzealous in getting at it without actually going over the switch plan. So, man, it got pretty hot up there in the attic. I wound up going home afterwards. I was really just beat after crawling around up there. It doesn't show in the time lapses or how we edited it, but I was up there for about 2 hours. I also did some poking around. I was having a look at the other lines and doing a little bit of removal. I didn't catch that on camera, but I did disconnect one of the main lines coming in that's now a dead line. I didn't really plan on hooking it back up, but it's a long one. It stretched the length of the house and it had 2 breaks in it, so I had planned on taking that out as it is. So I'm back in today. I feel a little refreshed. I had some coffee, a lot of coffee, and yeah, I'm going to start with a cleanup and a fresh start, and I do have a plan for the kitchen now, so we're probably going to get that underway as well. All right, so we got a nice clean slate to work with, and I just recalled something. Silly me. Not used to having one, so it didn't cross my mind that I should grab it, but I had a headlamp that was given to us from one of our viewers, and I really should have been wearing that. That would have been super helpful in the attic, but I'm going to wear it today. I was looking forward to it when I opened it up too, so that really bothers me that I didn't remember when I definitely could have used it. But I'll be trying it out today, and I'm looking forward to that. So I think to start, I really don't like disorganization and mess, and we've got, these are all dead lines up here, previously cut lines or lines that belong to a circuit that no longer exists. So I'm going to strip some of these out and clean up a little bit. This one here, this was dead in 2 locations up in the attic. I knew about that one, and there's not a whole lot that belongs to the circuit. That's why I didn't mind killing it. And all that does is it powers the range hood. And this wire, I don't mind swapping that out anyway. It comes from a switch box, which we're going to need. The range hood we're going to get is likely going to have a switch built into the unit. So I'm just going to run a direct line up there. And from here, it has power going out to over here, which just does the light for the stairwell. And what it also powers is the outlets in the garage and this light here. And this is the only light that belongs to the garage. So the reason I really don't mind killing that is the garage is getting completely redone. And I know that because I plan on putting a sub panel in there. So I'm going to have all my power drawn for the garage directly from the garage. So when I kill that, the only thing that I got to rewire out of it, which I don't mind, is the light over the stairway and the range hood. The range hood is going to belong to the same circuit that I'm going to be dedicating to the kitchen, and the light over the stairwell I'm going to run in with the rest of the living room. So between the plugs and 2 lights in the living room, I'm going to be well in range to add that in, and won't be any consequences really, because there's also, I think, yeah, there's a light and 2 outlets I'm removing from the circuit that was originally powering up the living room area. So I think that's what I'm going to get on. But before I do that, while the floor is still nice and clean, I got a kitchen layout to work with. It's at least well enough that I can run the utilities and everything else. So I'm going to get that traced out on the floor. That way we can evaluate it a little bit better. And I know exactly where everything's going, because I got to run gas lines in there as well for the range and the oven. And the plumbing, I don't think I have to do a lot with the plumbing. I just got to, repair as needed. That's going to stay the same. It's always best. We have a window in the kitchen, which is really nice. And the sink, in my opinion, should always be below this window. It's just really nice. Doing dishes, it's a tedious task. I do dishes as well on occasion. I find it's the best way to get my hands clean. If I got an event coming up or something, and my hands, they have sort of this permanent dirt, especially if I'm working on vehicles. It's very hard to get them clean. If I need them extra clean, dishes are the best way to get that done. It's something about that dish soap and the repetition. It just does the trick. So let's get this laid out, and then we're going to continue on from there. So here's the kitchen layout as of right now. And oh, I don't even have staples. I'll tape it. It's just good practice to tape it up on the wall or keep it handy. That way, as we're doing work, we've always got a reference, and it's right where we need it when we want to look at it. This is a pretty common practice when you're renovating. So that's it. The only difference between this and what we actually plan on doing in the end, we're gonna put the fridge over on the end bank here, and to maximize this countertop space here. That's the only difference right now. So, and some of these things could change, but this location, the fridge, and the range are pretty set in stone. So I got more than enough to work with to get everything wired up and run my gas line. So that's what I'm going to lay out right now. Throughout this project, I've been working in challenging environments, dealing with hazardous materials like drywall dust, insulation, mouse droppings, and even mold. As many of you have pointed out, wearing a mask is essential for safety in these conditions. That's why I'm thrilled to thank Basecamp for providing their high-quality dust mask. Each mask includes spare filters, replaceable nose cushions, and the mask itself, making it a complete and practical solution. What stands out is how user-friendly the Basecamp mask is. Attaching a nose cushion is as simple as peeling and sticking it inside the mask. No complicated steps required. The mask is designed for comfort and functionality. It's fully adjustable, ensuring a secure seal around the mouth and nose. Best of all, I can wear my sunglasses or safety glasses without them fogging up, which makes a big difference in the job. Whether I'm sweeping, doing yard work, or tackling a dusty attic, the Basecamp dust mask reliably protects my airways from harmful particles. If you're still using disposable N95 masks, I highly recommend upgrading to a Basecamp dust mask for its comfort, durability, and performance. Check out the link in the description for more details. So now to get this started, what I'm going to do is I already had some chalk lines down. They're not really changing, but they're also rubbed out, so I'm going to re-chalk them. And what they're doing is they're establishing the depth away from the wall. So I'm going to get that re-chalked, and then I'm going to start laying out the individual cabinets. Now as I do that, the inclination is to just start at one end. But the best practice for laying this out on the floor is starting from what matters most. So in this case, this set of cabinets here, I'm going to start right on this corner. That way I know everything's going to be tight to the wall itself. And I can determine everything else going that way. If I start on the end, I don't really have much of a reference going off the door frame. And when it comes to the other end, I can make that work to whatever I want it to be. I can use fillers and other things to make it happen. And over here, for this line, we have a window to match up to. So we want to make sure that sink cabinet is centered underneath this window. So that's going to be the first cabinet that I lay out, and then I'm going to go either side from there. We do have the dishwasher beside the sink on the other side, and when I go to put that in, it doesn't matter if the cabinet space is a little bit bigger. I can add a filler and make it work, and I can terminate on the other side pretty much wherever I want. But I want to make sure that cabinet is centered under that window. So that's how I'm going to lay it out. I'm going to start there and then work outwards. So let's get these lines chalked, and then we're going to start working on the individual cabinets. So it looks like when they were dealing with the initial plans, they accidentally added 20 inches to that one wall. So we'll have to modify that, but that's not a big deal, and it doesn't really hold us up right now. So I got it laid out, and I'll be able to work with what we got. So to get things started, I'm just going to throw these in boxes and call them good for right now. And yeah, it's the thick ones, so get that out of the way. Alright, so Xana was here, and we went over the discrepancies in the kitchen, so we still have some things to figure out with that, but the appliances are remaining in the locations they are, so I'm good to go for right now. The layout's going to change. The bad news about the missing 20 inches that didn't exist to begin with was a bit of a game changer for the existing layout. So we have to completely revamp that. But we did go over the switches, and we managed to make a lot of progress with that. So over here by the door, this is going to be a double. So it's going to operate the exterior light. That's right here. That's going to stay in place. And then there's also going to be a switch for the dining room. So it's nice when you walk into a house to have a switch nearby that turns on an interior light. So that's going to remain. And because even if we switch this to a patio door, the operator is still going to remain on this side. So we want the switch to be close to the door opening. So we're going to leave that right there, and that's going to operate the dining room light there. And over here, we're going to put a double switch right here. And the benefit for her is she gets to walk through the place, imagine where she's going to want to turn things on, and, you know, it kind of estimate its functionality. So she walked through the bedrooms, and imagine that turning the switches off here was way more convenient than having them around the corner here. So I'm going to have a double here. One of them is going to be a second switch for the dining room, and the other is going to be a switch for the kitchen over here. And the other switch for the kitchen is going to be over here, which makes perfect sense because it's just as you walk into the kitchen. So that's going to remain exactly as it is, but it's going to be on a different circuit. We're going to keep it on the one we're working on. And the last thing we decided was that this here, she did agree with me that it's too many toggles if we have everything in place, but it's also very redundant to have the living room switch so close to where we may also have another living room switch. So it seemed perfectly adequate that there's a light switch here that's going to operate the foyer light, which is soon to go in. And that gets you a light on as soon as you walk in. As far as the living room, we're going to have everything operated off a single switch right here. And that's going to be two separate switches, one for the light and one for the fan. And that's going to be adequate. And that way, it's going to be also convenient. I only have to run one 14-3 line over to here. And the benefit of having this insulation out, this is going to be a very easy job. So yesterday, I took care of probably what was the worst work as far as the electrical. Nothing else is going to require that much attic work. That's not done pretty much just off ladder and from the ground. I don't have to crawl through for the rest of these circuits. but getting these lights done is probably the hardest circuit there is. So the other ones I do have to worry about. There's going to be a fridge going along here, and so I'm going to have to fish that through the wall. Now for that, I am going to, because there's insulation in this wall, I don't want to damage the insulation unnecessarily, so I'm going to cut a little round hole, same as I did on the other side, and I'm going to be able to fish that line straight up, no problem. And then for the rest of the circuits in the kitchen, because I do want them on their own circuit, I don't want them connected to a whole bunch of other things. That's going to be pretty easy because we have a lot of exposure. So if I go through the attic, it's not going to be a big deal at all. And then over here, so this is going to change slightly. It's just going to be the exterior light and the foyer light. I'm going to leave them on this circuit because it's not really going to be that big of a deal. But I am going to drill a hole towards the top, that way I can fish them through properly. When I'm dealing with these exterior walls and the low slope of the roof, first of all, it's extremely difficult to get a drill over there and drill straight down. It's not really possible. I've only got about 6 inches to work with at the most. That's if I go on a slight angle. So I want to be able to get those lines on this side of the insulation and down. I don't want to have to try and fish through. It doesn't even work if you try that. So that's kind of the game plan right now. I know it's probably hard to follow. When we're talking about electrical and running lines, you know, it takes a little bit sometimes for people who don't do it day in and day out to wrap your heads around exactly what's going on. But the most critical thing is understanding what belongs to what circuit and where the switches are going. If you have those two things down pat, as far as routing and things like that, that's just, you kind of figure that out as you go, and it's not that complicated when you're doing it step by step. When I'm explaining it all at once like that, yeah, it could be a little overwhelming. But I assure you it's going to be pretty simple as we go. It's just a matter of understanding where things are coming from and where they're going to. So it is, you know, that simple, I guess. So let's get that started. There's a lot to do here, and these are probably the two most difficult circuits I have to do. The one most difficult circuit in particular is all these lights. So if I get that done, that's a big deal, because I could run the entire kitchen and the rest of the living room in the time it takes me to do this one circuit, just because I'm dealing with existing walls, I'm fishing a lot of lines, and having to crawl around in the attic. It's you know, it makes it an additional challenge, but it is worth it for the amount of time and money it saves me down the road. All right, so over here I might have been a little overzealous in getting at it without actually going over the switch plan, but it's not really a big deal. So I'm going to remove this box. I'm going to take out this line here, and I'm going to have this line go to a switch box right about here, and then from there I'm just going to add another line that's going to go and replace this one. And where's that one go? Yeah, so that's going to be easy enough. So it's not like I've wasted a whole bunch of line or anything. It'll work out just fine. So let's get that started and get this rerouted. right, so that's ready to go. So we're now at the next challenge. So I'm going to do the dining room light. Now this is going to be a three-way switch. Now the way you do three-way switches, and they both operate the same way, but there's two ways of routing them. So we can have our 14-3 line, that's the line with the red wire in it. It can run from one switch directly to the other switch, or you can have it run to the light fixture and then to the other switch. And one way or another, they operate exactly the same way, because what you do when they run through the light fixture is the two red lines coming in are tied together, not to the light, but they transfer through this and they go directly to the other switch. Now the purpose of this, and let me grab a pencil, maybe I'll show you on paper. Alright, so this is the way a three-way switch works. So, and try to follow me here. So I have live or hot, and this is the wire coming in. It's more traditionally called a hot line, but I've heard some people call it a live line. It means the same thing. So it goes into the first switch. And conveniently I had a red pen, so I was able to do the red line. So if it's going switch to light, the way you do it is you just connect the two switches together. And the idea is, if both of these are in the on position, let's say they're both up, then you're going to get power through and out to the light. If they're both in the on position towards the red line, then you're going to get power through to the light. So if this is switched towards the red line, let's say, and you turn this one off, it breaks the circuit. And then you can turn this one on and it changes the circuit. One way or another, if you change either of these switches, it's going to liven up the circuit. So the way it works when you go directly to a light, you have your live going in, and then you have both the lines coming through, and the red line is connected. And it works exactly the same way. I know it looks a little bit confusing, but your outgoing line is still reaching the light, and it's working on the same principle. This red line is connected together, so you're livening it up either this way or this way. I hope I'm explaining this right, and I hope I drew these diagrams correctly. But yeah, that's essentially it. If I did something wrong in the diagram, and I may have, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that's essentially the principle of a three-way switch, is you have two separate lines, and if you have one of them off, changing either one of the other ones will liven it up, and changing either one will also disconnect the circuit. So that's the whole principle behind it. So that's what we're working on, and conveniently enough, we're doing both types here. So this is what we're going to be doing in the kitchen, because I'm going to be traveling through the light to the other switch. And then for the dining room, I'm going to be going switch to switch, and then to the light. And the reason for that, I don't recall if I actually explained it or not, is because over here at this switch here, I need to get power into here because there's another light on this circuit. So I'm taking it off this brown circuit because that's going to do both the bedrooms and the bathroom. So I'm going to make this light operate off the same circuit as the dining room. And that'll keep all of our lights together on a single circuit. And we're still well under the budget for, you know, how many lights we can have on a single circuit. So in order to do that, I have to get power over here. So I have to run a dedicated line for power as it is, because I got two lights on it. If I try tying it in with the other light from here, which I can do, the only problem is that when you turn the light on for the dining room, it will affect whether or not the exterior light gets power. So I have to run power over here, and then I have to do my three-way switch. So if I'm already routing a line, I might as well route both of them at once, get them down there, and then I just need a 14-2 line to go up and into the light. So that's how I'm going to do this one. So I'm going to get that all prepped up, ready to go. I have a few things to expose, and then I'm going to route the lines. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and strip down some of the excess wires and dead lines that are up in the attic. And then I'm ready to go. I'm going to start running fresh lines in. But I definitely want the dead ones out. They're in my way, and I hate looking at them, so they're coming. Alright. All right, so I managed to get some stuff done today. We got this mess here. I didn't put the box in yet. I want to get a deeper box just because we have a lot of wires coming in. I have one more line coming into this, and that's the kitchen light three-way. So that's going to be another one of these wider lines. So I didn't bother putting that in. I'm going to get the right box for that so I could fit everything comfortably. But apart from that, we did get all of this run. And we got this ready to go. And apart from that, we got a lot of planning done. So, I don't know, I got enough done for the day. I still got some other things to do that aren't related to the house. So, I got to call it quits here. Only so much time in a day. And the house isn't everything, unfortunately. I do enjoy working here, but I got a lot of things on my plate and I got to get those taken care of as well. So, just remember, if you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. It goes a long way to help the channel. And we'll see you in the next one. Till then.